President Vladimir Putin overwhelmingly won re-election last weekend, and as he tightens control over Russia, he's relying on outside help to wage his war against Ukraine. Iran has sent thousands of drones to attack civilians and critical infrastructure in Ukraine. CBN's George Thomas traveled to Odessa, where these lethal weapons are devastating the lives of innocent people.
Midnight, March 2nd, in Odessa.
Anna and Timofey were in our bedroom. I was in the other room with our daughter Lisa. I usually go to her room to try and help her fall asleep. I fell asleep too with her that night.
An hour later, Russia launched 8 kamikaze drones from Crimea, targeting the Ukrainian port city.
At about 1:17 a.m., I heard a sound, a sharp sound, like a drone, and then a sharp explosion.
While Ukrainian air defenses intercepted 7 drones, the 8th struck Anna and Sergei's 9-story apartment.
Everything was on fire. I woke up quickly and got up, took my daughter in my arms and wrapped her in a blanket. I ran out of the room to make sure that my wife and son were safe. I saw that the door to our bedroom was open, and suddenly I noticed that the bedroom was gone. There was just an abyss and a mountain of garbage below.
Search and rescue teams arrived within minutes of the attack.
I was in shock. What kind of scary dream was that? Maybe it was a dream, I thought, but it was real.
After 12 hours, firefighters found Anna and their 4-month-old Timofey in the basement of the apartment.
The structures of the 7 floors came down on them, pinning them down completely. During the explosion, the bed flipped over and the mattress and blanket covered them. It's a good thing that happened. Their bodies survived. They weren't blown apart. That was important to me. The forensics later found out that they died in their sleep next to each other.
It was an Iranian drone known as the Shahed 136 that brought down Anna and Sergei's home. Earlier this month, hundreds of emails and thousands of internal documents revealed that since the war here in Ukraine began more than 2 years ago, Russia has purchased more than 6,000 Iranian drones.
Military specialists told me that the Shahed drone was programmed from start to finish, from the point of takeoff to the point of impact. It was programmed to fly right here. A total of 12 people were killed in our apartment. This is targeted terror.
According to Ukraine's Air Force, Russia has launched almost 3,800 Shahed drones over the last 2 years, attacking civilian targets and infrastructure like power plants.
The Russian army purposefully killed my wife and my little baby. Iran is to blame too. Those who take the weapons and kill are to blame, and those who sell those weapons are also to blame.
In February, hackers obtained thousands of internal documents from a company reportedly linked to Iran's defense ministry that revealed extensive technical help Tehran is providing Moscow to manufacture these Shahed drones. The Washington Post uncovered an industrial hub last August, hundreds of miles east of Moscow, where thousands of drones have been assembled. A few days ago, Russian media showed video from reportedly inside that plant with dozens of Shahed drones on display. Ukraine intelligence believes Hezbollah and members of Iran's Revolutionary Guard are also teaching Russians how to operate the drones.
Anna was a sunshine person for all of us. She enjoyed life. She loved the world. She loved God.
CBN News was there last week as hundreds of Christians came to this church in Odessa to pay their last respects to Anna and Timofey. Anna's father is a well-known pastor in the city.
God gave us life and we rejoiced in it. We praised God, we served in church. She was very active in the church's ministry.
Ukraine's President Zelensky also laid flowers near their destroyed apartment building and mentioned the sadness he felt of Timofey's passing in a tweet.
First of all, I have no anger towards the Russians. There is no aggression and no desire for revenge. Second, I have no anger towards God. I don't have any questions. Of course, humanly speaking, it is very hard to accept this. But God, almost on this day of the funeral, when we were waiting for a miracle, He sent peace into my heart.
George Thomas, CBN News, Odessa, Ukraine.
I think there's a double standard in the world today where Russia is not being condemned for this. Iran is not being condemned for this. They're not holding hearings at the UN. They're not issuing calls for ceasefire. They're not doing any of that. And it's astounding to me that Israel, suffering the horrific attack of October 7th, is under condemnation now for just trying to get their hostages back. And just trying to say, never again, you're not going to stay in power in Gaza. We need to wake up to these things, and here's a fact you may not have heard in the news, but I find it absolutely astounding that our current government would do this. It's horrible. They released $10 billion to Iran just last week. In face of all that they're doing to incite terror, our U.S. Navy fully employed in trying to stop the attacks against shipping in the Gulf, all that they're doing to arm Hezbollah, all they're doing to create turmoil, and here very vivid evidence of what they're doing to prolong this horrible war in Ukraine. Let us pray. It just seems that only God can intervene in these matters, and we need to pray that Russia would come to its senses and stop this horrible war. We need to pray against the leadership of Iran. The people of Iran want to be free of them. We've seen that protest again and again and again. Can they be free? If we can see these things, then yes, there's a path to peace. But until we stop rewarding it, can we at least do that? That we don't give them any more money to build weapons that will be used against innocent civilians.